Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Ironis Insights. I got a great guest, Chris May. He's the Vice President of Security and Growth at Advantage.Tech. Thanks for joining us, Chris.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, where are you calling from?
I'm just north of DC, so Frederick, Maryland, just about on a good day, about an hour north of city center DC. At rush
Right.
hour, about 3 hours.
Yeah, not too far from us in New York. Just
No,
a train ride away.
we do it all the time. My wife's owns her own fashion business, so we're in Bushwick, Brooklyn a lot.
Yeah, exactly. Consignment, capital of the world.
It is, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, thanks so much for hopping on. You have a really interesting background, and Advantage Tech is doing some really cool stuff. So, I guess why don't you explain a little bit about how you got to where you are today?
Yeah, well, that is an interesting story. So, just a math nerd, really. Have always been. I do better with numbers than I do with the English language. This is more of a learned behavior. So, was super fascinated with numbers and with computer systems as a kid.
Yeah.
Had a green screen computer in sixth grade and was like, could not believe this thing was real. Got to play games on it like Oregon Trail. We all laugh about it, but I'm
Yeah.
48, so I really got to do that. Um, Eventually didn't really know what to do after high school, but knew I wanted to do something in math and engineering. So went to West Virginia University for chemical engineering, and was very quickly approached by the military. It was the mid 90s, and they were having problems recruiting into the military engineers, some of the higher level functions. So they came to colleges and asked if I would be interested in taking some tests and possibly looking at the Naval Nuclear School. And I was like, that sounds cool, right? Love physics, love math, love engineering. Took a physics and math exam and passed it, aced their ASVAB. And next thing I know, I had signed myself up for the US military at 18 and agreed to go to boot camp. There was a couple different routes. You could go boot camp and go the enlisted way. You could do some stuff and go through OCS and go through officer
So
school and
you
then go
stopped going
boot
to
camp.
school and you went right to military.
Yeah. And I was like, you know what? They offered me $36,000 signing bonus and I was 18. Right. And
Right. At that time, it sounds great, right?
I was trying to do my own thing. Right. And so I was like, yeah. And they're like, we're going to send you to Great Lakes, Illinois, 40 miles above Chicago, which I made a mistake and I got there December the 26th, 27th. Sorry. So
So cool.
that was so stupid. But they were like, as soon as you get done with boot camp, you'll come out as an E3, which is unheard of. And you'll get $36,000 signing bonus, and we'll send you to Orlando. The nuclear school's in Orlando, Florida. And so I'm like, yeah, let's go. Um, Crazy, right? You never know what you're really signing up for when you hit boot
Yeah.
camp, especially me. So later in life, in my 30s, I was diagnosed with Asperger's syndrome. So I have high functioning autism. So how in the world I ever got through boot camp is still a mystery to everybody.
Mhm.
I basically just went into a box and was like, and I looked at it very analytically. So I'm actually a really good soldier because I'm very analytical, right? It's just ones and zeros. There's no gray area to me.
Right.
So I did that. Went through the U.S. Naval Nuclear School. Came out from that very well. Actually, the picture of me and my people's right there behind me. And I'm behind the golden propeller because I was top of my class, which was cool. Again, just a math nerd. Like they gave me the one thing the boot camp changed my life as far as what that structure looked like, how to
Mhm.
put structure to what I knew. I was forced to have to communicate with other individuals, even though I didn't like it. I was bad at eye contact, right? Like you talk about forcing you into a place you had never been. They broke me down and molded me and they want me to be, which is what they do. And so I came out of there, went to the nuclear school. The top of us in our class were able to get pulled over into another program about 96, 97 because we understood the electrical engineering and nuclear engineering around the reactor systems and all that. So, what does the communication system look like? How is it talking to things, right? We had that advancement into computers that the people older than us didn't have, right? We had seen them,
Right.
we had touched them. And so it was crazy. It just opened my whole world. Again, I was going to be a nuke and still eventually got a nuclear engineering degree from the University of Tennessee. But it opened my whole eyes into computer communications. And then that's what I did for years. Went from there and got out of the military in that 2000, early 2000s era when it was just the Middle East was a hotbed. It was crazy. Um,
So
and
you
just
you were in the military for like 10 years?
no, not at all. It sounds like that, but actually I went really fast. So boot camp, straight to school, nuke school's 2 years, right? That's why I had to come out later and get a nuclear engineering degree because you get all the engineering part, you just don't get what colleges give you. Did
Mhm.
that super fast and then immediately went from that into the second part, like the next 2 years, probably a year and a half in my enlistment. That's when I really got into the security side of things. And then so I did my first 4 year enlistment, and then for 2 years I actually worked for the I worked for a private contractor that was actually a government funded entity. I didn't know. I mean, we kind of knew, we were kids.
Yeah.
So 6 years total, I was out. Um,
Okay. Okay.
yeah, went and worked with my dad. We built a company and sold it. I built the technology on the back end. It was a fundraising and marketing company, but he was doing it all on paper, and I was able to come in and turn into a database and like make sense of it. And then that was what he sold later. That the data was what was so valuable. And then I spent years at DuPont Chemical when we were the largest chemical company in the world, obviously as a
Yeah.
technical operations director. Again, big infrastructure, right? Big, not big nuclear reactors, but big chemical reactors, right? Chemical reaction system, distillation columns, heat exchangers. It's kind of the same world. And so that's just what I've done for a long time.
So after being at a company like DuPont, I mean, so what led you to, I mean, I know you said, I think your friend started Advantage.Tech, right? Like what brought you into, was it just, through friends, you just found a different home, or, what led you away from DuPont and into where you're at?
Sheer frustration led me out. Like it was what led
Like
me out of DuPont.
bureaucracy or
Yeah, and just huge, like large scale security concerns, right? Physical and cyber. um, Things just not being run in the appropriate ways. And this isn't an assault on DuPont. It's just any big company like this. They get big. You see them from the inside,
yeah,
right? And just not wanting to be part of a $1 billion machine anymore, making money for shareholders. All I heard about every time I sat in a meeting was the damn share price, and I
share.
didn't care
Yeah.
anymore. I just didn't care. I'm a
Yep.
security guy. I don't care. And so they split the company in half. It's 2014 into 2015. So became DuPont and Chemours. It was the largest stock split the globe had ever seen at the time as far as US stocks. I was going to leave then when it was starting, and they needed people to stay, right? The company didn't get upended. So I got paid for after I left, even, which was crazy.
Yeah.
Um, and so I had a chance to do something different. And a guy I know that I had been great friends with since college named BJ. Um, had done other big global things like me. He was the global head of mining consulting for Tata, TCS, right? One of the biggest companies in the
Yep.
world. So we were both doing big things. He had walked away from TCS, I mean, multi-billion dollar giant, to come back to West Virginia and start a little company out of a company that Richie Wilbur, who's our president, had started years before. So Richie started Advantage 25 years ago, the spare bedroom of his house, just fixing computers by himself. That's how this started
Okay.
25 years ago. BJ had started they had started a little company together called Iridia that did remote IoT monitoring. So we were building something, they were building something called Thing Informer that could bring all these remote signals from anywhere over long range radio, satellite, whatever, right? Cell phone, doesn't matter. Aggregate them back in a place where you can see them in real time from any remote, IoT sensor. And that's what I left DuPont to do, is help them build that company, not to be anything at Advantage, right? Because I know that world and I know it very well, and I know the security of IoT and I know how all that stuff works. Um, and we did that and we built it, and actually became something really cool. It's one of the things I'm the most proud of that I've ever done. We're in a weird time and space where the big water quality sensor manufacturers started to come up against us with $100 million investments that we didn't have. We've always done everything self-funded. Advantage is self-funded. That was self-funded.
Mhm.
And we eventually just divested what was there and moved on from it because so much money came into play. And the only way we were going to fight that was with more money, and then we'd have to give away half the company. So that was how I got here. And then when I got here, really started realizing, I've been here a decade, over a decade. I started realizing, wait a minute, like small business, medium business doesn't have access to good security. They just
Yeah.
didn't. And so we started figuring out, like, wait, we can attack this market. About the time I got here, a little after I got here, Richie hired someone to turn his break fix IT company into an MSP because that's where they were going a decade ago. So
Yeah.
I hired a lady named Nina Shell, who was amazing and really revolutionized us into an MSP, right? There is something to be said about the difference in men and women in your organization. IT is mostly led by men. What we found out is if you bring in women that have different insight and different ways of thinking, they can really drive your org forward. And she did that, right? By having that high touch sales and being able to get my, hot shot sales guys corralled up. It's like herding cats, right? But
Yeah.
she does that very well. I tell people it's not a bad thing. It's that mother's instinct, right? They're so much better
Yeah.
at it than we are. And so she really changed Advantage into a true MSP. And that's when we started really building out a cybersecurity practice, right? And that's been my focus since then, is just building out that cyber practice.
Yeah, so tackling that SMB market, I mean, that's really important because, and what talking to a lot of different founders and thought leaders like yourself, it's the number one thing I'm finding with these companies is they don't think they need it. They don't know that they need it. They don't think
Yeah.
that, well, we're too small, but it's just not the case. So I found a lot of it is actually educating them that yes, you are a viable target and they are actively targeting you.
Yeah, the education is what changed everything for us, honestly. So here we were, well, 10 years ago, right? So the security program really here started in full force about then. So I remember 9 years ago, we're sitting there and we're like, hey, we're selling some of this stuff, but we had core customers that trusted Advantage for, 14 years at that point, 10 years. Then you talk to them about security, that's the first thing you'd hear. Oh, I'm in little old West Virginia. I don't need this. I'm in little old Western
Yeah,
Maryland. I'm
yeah,
on the Eastern Shore. No matter where they were, they would all say the same thing, right? None of them were in the same spot. And so we really, and it was probably 2018 when we kind of started figuring it out. And again, I'm an engineer, right? I'm a principal engineer. This is what I do. I know all the numbers. I know just it's what I, so I started to understand, hey, we've really got to figure out how to sell this thing, how to market this thing. Like not even sell it as much as just to have people understand what they need.
hmm
And so it's funny, another thing that's on my wall right behind me, if you see that picture below the Navy picture, that is a press release in the paper, big write-up on the front page of the West Virginia Capital City, Charleston, West Virginia newspaper, that I was going to go around the state to 10 different venues and the state was paying for it. And I was going to train small business owners on the cybersecurity that mattered to them. And I called it, You're the Last Line of Defense, you and all your people. And we asked them all to come in for free. And we did it 10 places around the state. The SBDC asked us to do it, and the SBA, Small Business Administration,
yeah,
because businesses were getting hammered.
yeah,
You know what we did? I learned how to teach them instead of sell them. Because I'm not a sales guy. I love
right,
education though. I think education is the great equalizer. And so I got on stage and I started just saying, hey, look, not enterprise stuff like I did at DuPont. Because what the threats we were seeing by then were really simplistic. They were email threats, business email compromise, web links, embedded executables in PDFs and Office documents.
yeah,
And so we just started teaching them. And what I would do is get up and teach them. And then when I got off the stage, they would all come up and say, oh my gosh, I didn't know any of that. I need you now. You talk about changing a sales motion, right? You talk about holistically changing the sales motion. If I'm up there trying to sell you something, I turn you off instantly,
yeah,
right? You're like, oh God, another mouthpiece. But what I did is I got up there and said, hey, look, I'm from Advantage. That's the most you heard about Advantage, right? Here's real advice. Here's practical stuff from a 30-year engineer. Here's what you need to know. And that is the difference, right? When they're educated, and they understand the risk, then they can talk about solutions, right? And you have to talk about it from a risk perspective. I mean, the risk is that they lose their business, that they lose their employee data, right? That they lose customer data, so then they lose the business. And so that's what we've had to do is just change that conversation.
yeah. No, I mean exactly right. I mean, there's it's actually a buddy of mine. He owns it's a tanning salon down the street, and he got hacked. They took all of his users, locked out all the memberships, and said we want 50 grand. And there's nothing he could do if he pays them the 50 grand. He has no idea if they're actually going to give it back. Are they going to ask for more? And it can really really screw up your business if you don't have the right security.
Oh, it's so we're in a place nowadays where that's one thing that can end your company forever, almost instantly, right? And we see it over and over. And it's not a I don't try to use fear tactics, right? Like,
Right.
but you should be rightfully scared nowadays about what's happening in security and IT. And if you're not, then you're just not informed. And if you're not informed, you need to get informed quickly because what we have now is nation state threat activity hitting small business, right? Because they've built these weaponized nation state attacks. Hell, NSA built some of them that got released in the wild, Eternal Blue and Eternal Sunshine, or not Eternal Sunshine, Eternal Blue and Eternal something. I can't remember the other one. But those are some of the biggest threats that have hit the world in different ways that were built by the NSA and some hacker group stole
Yeah.
them, right? So now you have NSA tools that can be unleashed against the small, medium business. So what we really have to do is, and we have to educate people because the problem we really have in security right now is you have people trying to sell things that people don't need
Yeah.
or sell magic solutions or magic little things, right? And
Yeah.
security's not that. It's just good insights. It's seeing what you have. It's understanding what's there. You can't secure things that you don't have written down and that you don't have a process and a procedure for, right? And that's what we're really trying to get people to understand is that even as a small business, you are under attack, but you have some ways that are very cost effective. And honestly, some of them are free to really help yourself. And that's one of those things we just talked about, tying it full circle, is that education, right? We've offered free training. We'll do one free training a year live. I do it on the web for any company to kick off their security programs. Why? Because you need to hear it from an engineer. You need to hear it from somebody who's been doing it 30 years. You need to hear what's really happening. You'd be how shocked. It's crazy how shocked they are when I tell them the biggest threat at you right now is your email. And
Yeah.
they're like, what do you mean? I'm like, you're the target. It's social engineering. Why am I going to attack a server if I can pop you in 2 seconds? What's the
I've
point?
I've seen so many of those. Internal IT departments do the fake phishing scams, and there's 0% of the time it passes every time. It's like there's always someone that's going to click it.
Always,
There's
every
always.
time. Well, and
And
that's what they rely on, Alex.
yeah.
Like they know that, right? That's the common knowledge. And what they do is they prey on everybody's incessant need to see everything and know everything. We're nosy as hell as a human race, right? We are so nosy. And people are like, I'm not. Oh, yes, you are. If I can tell you three or four things and I'll have you on the internet searching for days to figure out what I was talking about, right? Like it's crazy. We've proven it. It's part of human behavior. It's what makes us effective and it's what's made us populate the earth. We
Yep.
seek, we reach, we go. And so they use that against you. They're using your own inbuilt behavioral mechanisms. A lot of what they use against you is what's been referred to in psychology for years as like your lizard brain,
Mhm.
right? So how is that triggered? That reptilian brain, that whole base level thought process, it's triggered by fear, right? If you go into a fear response, you automatically things trigger, chemicals kick off. You don't think right. It's just self-preservation. Problem is, a lot of those thoughts aren't clear, and so you're actually not preserving yourself in the right way. So that's what they do. They send you things that say, hey, you got a warrant for your arrest. Hey, there's a subpoena from a federal court. Hey, your grandson is, you know what I'm saying? And
Yeah, my
then,
easy pass.
bro, you start clicking, right? You're like, oh, I have to fix it. Now you're down the rabbit hole. Here's the
Mhm.
best piece of advice I can give your audience for that. Sounds simple, it changes your life. You don't have to click on anything in an email or a text. I haven't clicked on anything in an email in years. People are like, that's not possible. Oh, yes, it is. I'm a security guy. Like, what happens if PayPal sends you a link and says you need to change your password? That's the link you never click on. What do? You go log into your web browser. You go log into PayPal. Oh, everything's fine. Right? The same thing. They send you emails about your bank accounts. Somebody sends you a random PDF. If I don't know what's coming, I'm not opening it. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna find another band of communication and message that person and say, hey, what is this? What is this thing? And they're like, I didn't send you anything. You've solved so many of your problems by not having to see what's on the other side of the wall. But the threat actor knows that you have this incessant need to see what's on the other side of the
Yeah.
wall. They put a fake wall, right, to get your attention that you just have to knock down. And as soon as you do, they got you. So that's what we're really how we're trying to move the needle is to say, look, your own personality, your own incessant desire for things is the weakness. Let's be vigilant and stop that. And how do you correct that? With vigilance, with training, with telling your employee base, hey, don't do these things and really engage them. You know what? That's usually free or very cheap, right? But it sets you up for a security posture to help you move forward.
Yeah, I like the idea of giving that, that free lesson of just education, really. Do you guys do continued education as well as part of your
Yeah.
package? Yeah.
So, and that, see, I've believed for years, I built our security strategy here. I believe it has to be twofold.
Yeah.
Right. Yes, we need good automated trainings that come out every few weeks. We need phishing, really good phishing simulations to make sure not to catch you and berate you,
Right.
right? But to catch you and teach you to say, hey, this is what you thought that was good, but it wasn't. And next time it happens, you'll know it wasn't. And so we like to start off, say we have a new engagement with a client that hasn't done this before. We want the first training to be from somebody outside of their office, not automated from me. I run security here, been doing it 30 years. They will listen to me, hopefully, right? I at least can say I'm somewhat of an expert. So that gets their attention. We're talking about things that matter. Now, by the end of it, what are they doing? They're all talking about this ransomware gangs they didn't know existed and malware as a service. And so now we've set a tone, right? Oh my gosh, this dude's done this. He's a nuclear engineer. It helps buy me some credibility, right? I
Yep.
mean,
Yep.
whether it's worth anything or not. And so then we come behind that, and that's how we set the stage and say, now, ladies and gentlemen, you're going to get training every few weeks, 3 to 5 minute videos, super well crafted, right? And you're also going to get fished. And it's going to be very good. It's going to be based off user behavior we see in the network. We've done two things now. We've set the stage for security, but we've also made them hyper vigilant, right? Like they're like, oh my God, I want them hyper vigilant. I want you to be worried you're going to get fished. They're like, that's
Yep.
so, you know what they say? It's so bad you would have us worried we're going to get fished. No, you need to be worried every day. The fact that
Yeah.
you just worried about it when I said it is the bigger problem. You should already known this. So that's that duality we put in place, right? It's a continuous reminder. And if you fail a phishing exercise, it's not beating you over the head. Nobody calls you from my team. A person doesn't say anything to you. There's an automated message, so it's not made a big deal of. You're given training to show you what was wrong with it that you thought was right. And you answer a few little questions and we move on and you're just never heard about again. I do not make it a big deal.
Yeah.
That's how we get them better. That's how we teach.
Yeah, yeah. I mean that makes perfect sense. I mean that's such an important tool. Just I mean, like you said, it doesn't matter how big or small. It just takes one person to click on that thing, and so it's important for to get that word of mouth out there like that.
Well, you have to set so we're a huge we're the partner of the year of a company called Arctic Wolf, $4 billion security brand. And you could and they release threat reports every year. And last year, I think it was 78% of the ransomware activity they worked started with a business email compromise.
Mm-hmm.
That's insanity, right? So you're talking ransomware outbreaks, full scale, end of the road, worst scenario, right? Like patient zero stuff. And we're saying that 78% of those started because somebody opened an email that if they would have been vigilant and probably read it or thought about it or did some type of out of band verification, they would have known it wasn't real.
Yeah,
That's staggering. What that tells me too is next year will be 90 because they see that the threat actors know that they're like, that's what's working. So they're
yeah.
just leaning into it. And how are they doing that? This is the big one. I'm 48. Years ago, everybody was getting emails from a Nigerian prince,
Mm-hmm.
right? He wanted to give you money. It was
Yeah,
crazy. My grandma fell for one in like the 90s. It was pretty wild, like 98, like on her little computer at home in the living
yeah,
room. Everybody had the little fold out card table. It's
yeah,
crazy. And but we've seen that elevate, right? The reason you could catch a lot of those years ago, bad grammar, bad punctuation, horrible
yeah.
language, written like a 5-year-old, that doesn't exist anymore.
I
That same
know.
person that does not speak English will talk into their computer without even typing in their native language and it spits it out in perfect English and it doesn't seem like AI. That's what we're up against. That's why this is so important, the education, the training, the vigilance.
Yeah, and staying on top of it, and that kind of brings me to what I wanted to get into next. Is like, where do you see this going? I mean, we have this AI tool, right? We can use it against the attackers, right? But they're also using it against us. So, what do we do?
So I told somebody recently, and I think I terrified them. I'd be like, have you ever heard of Skynet? We're in the war of the machines, buddy. We're there. We're in the war of the machines.
Yeah.
So what I mean by that is for years, okay, so I've been using artificial intelligence is machine learning, right? At a base level, we've had machine learning for years. We've changed the tag on it, right? It's gotten more accessible in different ways. But if you think 28 years ago, we were plugging in machine learning into communication streams of nuclear weapons, right? So you put a computer on it, you say, this is what the normal communication path looks like. This is what the encryption looks like. This is what everything looks like. Learn that. Just sit there and learn it. And then tell me if it gets out of band. That's AI. That's artificial intelligence, right? That we have taught it to learn something. It's also a very basic process. So that was happening 30 years ago, 40 years ago. The advent of it, here's the difference. Now it's in your hands. It's in your aunt's hands. It's in your nephew's hands that may be five, right? So like you've taken it out of the hands of engineers that have understand how this stuff works and you've put it in the hands of everyone. If that sounds like a bad idea, it absolutely is.
Yeah.
In certain ways. And so with the advent of it, what we've had to do is understand that while it is a weapon, it's also a tool. And what we don't talk about enough is the duality of it, right? AI is the greatest productivity engine we've ever seen. It is also the greatest data amplifier that we've ever seen, and that is a bad thing, right? So before, if you accidentally put something into an email or into a website that was company proprietary data, somebody might find it, everything blows up. Everybody's like, oh my gosh, a competitor saw this. Okay, that's a small blast radius, right?
Yeah.
Accidentally dropped that in GPT-5.2 into a free version, and then somebody can pull that through a prompt 3 months later through a prompt injection. That's the blast radius. That's the data amplifier I'm talking about. And so we have to have that conversation, right? Um, it's terrifying. What we've done is to be far ahead of it and know that this was coming. And so we have adjusted our systems and our behaviors and the things we use based off of that. You can say all day that you don't like AI, but if you think I can have enough people, or Arctic Wolf can have enough people, or CrowdStrike, or whoever, to sit at screens by themselves and fend off nation state threats and understand AI threats that were built by other AI agents that are 5 layers deep now through agentic bots that have built each other, it's not happening.
Yeah.
So what do we do? When I tell you we're partnered with a $4 billion company, right? We're a $40 million a year company. They do our back end telemetry. They have a huge data lake that has an AI that's been running for 12 years, right? Before anybody was even talking about it, right? What's that AI doing? It's looking for pattern recognition. It's looking for correlations. What is its job? It spits out anything that is anomalous to a real person, not human in the loop, human on the loop. Human in the loop means you're run by the AI. Human on the loop means we run the AI, right? And so that's how we weaponize those defenders. And so what's happening now, if you're hitting us with this brand new 0 day weaponized attack, brother, I've got a system that's smarter than yours that's
Yeah.
going to see that coming
It's
at
seen it
me
all. Yeah.
and say, oh, you're another machine. Not happening, right? Not even coming close to us. And then what we do on the backside of that is all that intelligence is now spitting out to analysts, right? So analysts are seeing this intelligence, and these junior analysts and other analysts are having to figure that out, right? That's the front line of real security is people on screens that are this human on the loop in the AI. We're equipping them with things called like Cypher AI. So that Cypher AI is not allowed to scrape the open internet, right? We don't want hallucinations. What's Cypher AI do? Cypher AI knows all the CVEs that are current, keeps up with 0 days, keeps up with everything. Incredible research bot. So now the analyst can look and say, okay, this is what's outputting to me. Help me drill down on this part, Cypher. Help me look at this. Help me do this. So you've got it baked into the chain. It's not replacing people. It's making them faster. It's making them better. It's making them react to AI threats faster. There's no world where you react to an AI threat without another artificial intelligence system. You have to.
Yeah.
Like, and so that's where we're at. We've built our own internal artificial intelligence systems for customer communication, right? Help desk tickets, things as simple with outside of security, but like imagine if you can't open a PDF and it's the most important presentation that your company's ever given for a $10 million contract. That has to come to our help desk. That might seem silly, right? Oh, they just need a PDF opened. Well, you don't know that there's $10 million on the line and this person's got everything in their life mortgage. So what happens now? You put in that help desk ticket through an AI we built called Albert that lives in Teams, right in your Teams to make it super easy. And now that looks at that ticket. First of all, it sees if it can help you itself. So then you don't even have to pay us if it does. If it walks you through how to fix it and open it, like say you have self-service password reset, like SSPR or something, it'll do it for you, right? And if not, then it's going to find the engineer. It's going to know who the right resources are based off of that ticket. It's going to get it to the right person. Then what it's going to do is if for some reason that engineer's tied up or he got sick or he's just being weird or she's being weird, it's going to say, oh, this didn't get handled fast enough. We got to bump this to another person. We're going to get it solved. And now when my engineer who's good at engineering but doesn't communicate well forgets to tell them he fixed it, Albert's going to tell them it was fixed because it communicates in their behest or their behalf, I'm sorry, because they have a tendency to fix something to go to the next thing. So it's just at all layers, right? We've built this thing in as not, and people, the worst thing I hear is people say, come tell me what can I do with AI? That's wild. That's a bad question.
Yeah.
Like a lot of good and a lot of bad. You can do crazy things. The bigger question is, what business processes do I have that require just busy work, right? Just rote busy work,
Yeah.
just manual intervention, right? Logging, telemetry, customer communication in certain pathways, right? Those are so we looked at the problems first and then we said, can we solve this better with a person or an artificial intelligence? Or what we found out is that neither answer was yes. Can we solve this better with both? 100%, right? It's that marriage of the person and of the technology, and then you get the real outcome. And you constrain the technology in a place where it can't run wild and hallucinate off the open internet.
Man, but this, I mean, this building something like Albert is just absolutely genius. And I know so many companies like yours trying to do this and implement it with tremendous success. It's a lot of companies are very early stages. So congratulations on your success so far, man. I mean,
Thank you.
I gotta ask you, what would you, if you could change anything right now at your company or, raise awareness with something, what would you change?
Honestly, I would have harnessed the power of processes sooner. And so what
Uh-huh.
do I mean by the power of processes? So I came from the military, right? Everything's a process. Everything's got a EOS or so you got basically you have SOPs in the work world, we
Yep.
call them SOPs, right? Standard operating procedure for everything. So they call them some things in different branches of the military, some things in the work world. But what we started to realize, we grew really fast. So I got here 10 years ago, there was 20 of us, and we did like Richie had been in business 14 years. I think we did two $2.5 million that year. Last year we did 40 million, right? With 100 and some people. So that's a crazy growth in a decade. What happens when that happens is you have almost one way to make it a success. Two ways. You either get a bunch of outside money in and grow really fast, or you try to grow it yourself. But either way, you're throwing people and money at the problem,
Yep.
right? So COVID, especially, like all this stuff coming at us, can't get tech. Like we've had all these situations in Advantage over the years where work has come really fast and we've just had to just go. Just, oh, okay, go, 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 go. Well, we got to a point last year where you start trying to get some hands around that. And you're like, oh my gosh, this turned into something completely. This ain't 20 people anymore doing a couple million, boys. Like
Yeah.
our growth curve shows us in 15 years to do 500 million a year in
Yeah.
revenue, right? What I would change is we would have went backwards and just started putting in formal processes much
Yeah.
quicker. A formal process for sales engineering, a
Yep.
formal process for project management, a formal. So what we did years ago is that we've got formal SOPs and we had all that stuff for security. So our security operations center, our managed service delivery, our managed security service delivery, all that, man, because I'm military. Security director that works directly under me is naval engineer, right? You see where this is going.
Yep.
So the rest of the company wasn't structured that way, not by anybody's fault, just by the growth path and all that. So what I would change is I would say probably about 8 years ago, we really should have looked and went through that exercise and said, this is where we're trying to go. Let's build a framework for that. Because that's what I do in security and IT. I build frameworks and process frameworks, right? We would have built a better process framework. And then we would have, now we're going backwards and doing it. So now we just had to go hire a program manager to manage all the project managers, right? She came out of the University of Maryland, IT, program managing, like, so she's perfect. But for years, we've been fussing project management is just not keeping up with the sales. Well, we didn't give them the tools,
Yeah.
right? If we would have built a process framework structure like we do everything else, we would have known that. So,
Well, I have to say, this is a good problem to have, right? You're growing, and this is very, very common, especially with any company building a product. It's really, really common when you when you grow too fast, you just don't have the processes in place because you just made a new department.
yes,
It's impossible to have the processes in place.
it
So
is.
yeah, I mean, but yeah, I think it sounds like you got everything going on the right path. Chris, I mean, this is a great conversation. I really enjoyed hearing from you. I don't want to take too much more time from you, but where can our listeners find you and your company?
So I'll give a couple shout outs. I want to give another shout out first since we talked about Albert to XOP.ai. So it's XOP.ai. They
Nice.
helped us build it. They actually built it like the guy named Matt Ruck runs that company. Him and his father used to run a big IT outfit that you would remember familiar with the name that they divested years ago. But that's where the real back end engineering happened. We had the idea, they executed. And then for us, it's easy to find us just at Advantage.Tech. Just Advantage.Tech is our website. And you can find me on LinkedIn. It's Chris May Cybersec on LinkedIn. Always happy to chat. But thank you. Like I said, this is
Yeah.
stuff I'm always interested in and happy to talk about.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you so much. I'll put those links below the video here, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.
You too, bud.
All right. Awesome, man.
Good.
That was great.
Yeah,
Thanks so much for hopping on. Yeah,
no
I mean,
worries.
this is you guys are building an awesome product. Are you guys are in growth mode, I imagine, right?
Yeah, as
How
much
are
as
you,
I wish we weren't.
how are you guys how are you guys going through your growth right now? Are you just word of mouth right now?
No, man, we've got a company called 321 Marketing that handles all of our back end blogs and white papers. Like that stuff doesn't need a lot of it you won't even see on the page. It's just put in the internet to funnel background traffic for SEO. So we've got this
Yeah,
crazy SEO presence that just funnels all these web leads to us. We've
nice.
got Devaney and Associates out of the DMV here, out of the DC area that does all of our the actual website, social media branding, social media marketing. We've got a graphic designer. We got a whole team of fuck people working on this shit.
Yeah, yeah.
Anything we don't do well ourselves, we just hire it out.
Exactly. Well, I mean, so at Ironis, we obviously we do a lot of what you do, but we also can help with some basic lead gen for the top of funnel stuff. I don't know if that's
Right.
something you guys are interested in,
Our
but
top of funnel stuff comes usually from our biggest partners, like we're Arctical's partner of the year, so they funnel us a bunch of top level enterprise leads, and then we're a Microsoft Gold partner. And all that stuff is typically handled through, not typically, all that's handled through our VP of sales or VP of business development, John Goff,
yeah.
that we brought on. We hired him from Accenture about 4 years ago or
Oh,
something,
nice.
5 years ago. He handles all that top of funnel stuff, but I'd be happy to get you in touch with him to see
Yeah,
if he has any
I'd love to
interest.
have another call. Just kind of hear a little bit more about, what your sales process is and if there is
He's the
anything I can
guy.
do to help.
Yeah, he's the guy. I mean, it says growth on mine, but my growth's in a different way. I'm trying to help defense contractors and stuff grow through secure process and like the
Right.
stuff they need. Anything on that sales business development side, that's all John.
Yeah, yeah. No,
I definitely,
I'd love an intro. That'd be great.
yeah, I'll introduce you to him in an email. John's usually up to chat. I'll just let him know that I was on a podcast together and see if I can set up a time for you guys to talk. But John's easygoing, smart, understands
Nice.
our business model, and also understands his budgets and stuff for stuff like that and what that looks like. I
Perfect.
mean, I
Yeah.
honestly see all of it at the end of the day, but we just let our people do what they're great at.
Of course, of course. Well, listen, man, I'll have this probably to you in a couple weeks.
Okay.
And I'll send you the edited version. I'll get it edited for you, and then it'll be all yours. Feel free to use it for anything you'd like, LinkedIn, post it on your website, whatever.
Okay, and then you'll see. I'll take the email today, but you'll see the introduction to I'll delay it till tomorrow. Just the introduction to John, because if I send it to him on a Monday, it's just going to get buried.
Yeah, no problem.
Uh,
I appreciate that. I
yeah,
appreciate
so
that.
I'll send it to him. I'll have it go out to him at like 10 o'clock tomorrow when I know he's set at his computer.
Awesome,
Um,
man.
but
Thanks,
yeah, just
Chris.
let me know if you need anything else.
Thank you so much, man.
Thanks. Have a good
All
day,
right,
bud.
bye.